ready to embark on a journey towards becoming the next generation of millionaires, the faithful way. It is a beautiful day, and this is the day that the Lord has made, so that we should rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome. This is Radio Christian Voice. My name is Kunda, and this is the next generation of millionaires. And in the studio with me, I have Dr. Musonda. And Dr. Musonda holds not only a master's degree for 2 PhDs in business administration, and he has other qualifications as well. And he is also a pastor of Oaks of Righteousness Tabernacle and an international consultant. And so he's the one who's going to be helping us, because he's an expert in wealth creation. And so welcome to the program.
Thank you. This word expert is really interesting.
Yeah, but
I'm a person of interest in wealth creation.
Wealth creation. And I mean, obviously, when we talk about wealth, it's once you're an expert in wealth creation, you'll be a man that will be sought after. We'll be like this. I
remember I did a workshop some years back in Kasama, and I think I was explaining what net worth is. And my net worth then. And somebody went to my young sister who lives in Kasama and says, hey, your brother has a lot of money. So money and wealth are not always the same. You can actually be wealthy and have no money. Yeah, those are the people they call cash poor millionaires. You can also have money, but no wealth. Jerabos have a lot of wealth, have a lot of money, but I don't know if they have the wealth. So anyway.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew about that. So that's new to me. And today we are looking at empowering the young people. And so with your extensive knowledge and experience, can you help us understand the challenges young people face due to the limited job opportunities in Zambia?
Okay, yeah, precisely. There are a lot of challenges. I think I mentioned in the last program that there are too many people chasing very few jobs. The economy, our economy is very small. You'll be surprised that some of Western cities, their GDP is even bigger than what we can produce. In fact, some might even be bigger than that of Africa. In fact, some countries actually have a bigger GDP than what the whole of Africa has. So, and when your economy is small, it means that there is a limit in terms of the jobs that can be made available. So that is the challenge that we have. And therefore, it's very important for young people to make themselves competitive, to find ways where if there is only one position open for a young person, it should be you who should be ready. So I think that is why it's very, very important and it's very, very challenging. And that's why this program also has come up to be able to try to provide alternatives for those who can't find jobs. Otherwise, you start complaining. I've met a lot of young people actually who think that there's something spiritually wrong with them. In fact, many, Pastor, help me. Things are not going well. I'm not doing well. Help me out here. What is the problem? No, things are not working. Pray for me. And they think, it's a curse. And so when you ask and say, okay, what are your qualifications? And the young person says, it's done. I don't know whether it's, 3 months, I don't know whether you can even go it on a certificate or even a 2-year certificate, 1-year certificate. You can't compete with so many educated people and with even experience. And you think the problem is spiritual. Maybe part it can be, but that's not the predominant, the main issue. Yeah.
All right. And so in case you've just tuned in, do feel free to simply talk to us. Send us a message on 0960 200 490. Send us a WhatsApp message or a text message. We're also on our socials as well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn as well. Do make sure that you follow Radio Christian Voice, and let's learn together and let's have these conversations together. The program is The Next Generation of Millionaires right here on Radio Christian Voice, and you are with me, Kunda, and I'm with Dr. Musonda with me in the studio. And so, Doc, indeed, it's a pressing concern, with your wealth of experience. What advice would you give to our young listeners who find themselves in this predicament, as you were earlier explaining?
Yeah, okay. So now let me get your question clearly. Are you talking about those who have no employment, or
Yes.
who are not employed? Okay. So the first thing that you have to know as a young person, if you can't find a job, the challenge may not even necessarily be because you are not educated or you don't have the right qualifications, because even people that have right qualifications actually do struggle to actually find jobs. But also it depends on the what field you are trained in. And that's why these days we see a lot of young people just going not for things they like, but for things that are available, for positions that are available, for professions that are available, rather than what they would have loved to have done. I mean, you find somebody at heart you are a nurse, but you end up being a soldier, or you at heart you are a soldier, you end up being a nurse. So that is a challenge that we have, and therefore it's important for young people to begin to explore options. And if you have to get any training, get a training that will be able to help you to make money even on your own. Those are the ones that I would be able to recommend. That if you can't find a job, create one for yourself. And it's important for young people to have that mentality. But like we mentioned last week, in last week's program, we are talking about the importance, before you even rush in looking for, jobs, employment, you have to begin to invest in yourself. And the first thing that we mentioned, in case this is the first time you're listening to this program, we said, number one, you need to make sure that you get the right kind of education. Okay, and we said we need to get financial education or financial literacy. The other thing that we mentioned is that you need to understand what wealth is, because this program is not just about encouraging people to survive, to make ends meet. We don't want to do that. You can do that by different means, but what we want to encourage a generation of young people that will be able to create wealth, that will be able to be millionaires. Millionaires in kwacha, but even millionaires in dollars and in pounds and in rands, whatever currency you want. That's what we want to look at. So it's important for young people to get the education, the financial education, change your mindset, and understand what wealth is. Then what you have to begin with now is get skills in an area where you can be able to employ yourself if you don't find employment. And it's very, very important for young people to understand that.
All right. And I'd love us also to maybe look at low-paying jobs and the quality of life. I would want you to talk on that as well.
Yeah.
When it comes to low-paying jobs and the quality of life.
Yeah. So the issue that is important to understand for young people is that, and I'm sure you've heard of the law of supply and demand. This is a very important concept in economics, and but it's not just it's an economic concept, or a concept in economics, but almost everyone understands and knows about the concept of supply and demand. And here's how it goes. It says that according to this law, it's inverted comma, according to this law, when supply is very high, when you have, for example, you have maybe let's say farmers have produced too much tomatoes, you'll find that the demand is definitely going to be low. In other words, you cannot be able to fetch the right price for your tomatoes. Because sometimes you might find that at a peak, when very few people have grown tomato, a box of tomato can cost 100,000 kwacha. I mean, can cost maybe 10,000, 50,000, whatever the amount. But at another time, you find that maybe it can be sold at half the price. Or you might even get, instead of getting 10,000, I can't remember the box, I've never bought a box of tomato, but you find that maybe you sell maybe at 2,000, maybe at peak 10,000. Why? Because the demand, the supply is too high. And when supply is high, the demand is low. And because demand is low, the price will go down. Jobs are just one form of a commodity. You know, whilst a lady on the roadside is selling tomatoes, selling bananas, you are selling labor. And because in this country, like we've already mentioned, there is just too few jobs, and even good ones are even fewer, but we have too many people looking for the jobs, then supply for the labor market is too high. It's too high. And because it's too high, the people that have jobs, now you start having different vices now. Corruption, favoritism, who do you know? And you find that if you have a background like mine, where you don't have, you are coming from a place where you have no connections, your name is not even known, you might find it difficult to find a job. But even if you get a job, you find that it will be so low in terms of pay that you even struggle to live on that. And if you try to struggle to say, but the job is, they say, no, leave it or take it, or take it or leave it. So that is the challenge that we have with jobs. And that's something that young people need to understand. That, it is not a question of being cursed, because I know some people, especially those that are spiritual, maybe too spiritual beyond to the point that they even forget about the reality of this nation. Because in another place, you can find the same person who is cursed here goes to another place where jobs are in abundance. They get the job. So it means that if you are cursed, it means wherever you go, you shouldn't get a job. Yeah. And so that is the challenge that is there. So too many people going after jobs. And because of that, the employers have a choice to pay you as low as possible. And if you say, no, I can't take it, then they say, you leave it. Because there are actually other people that want the same job. So when you add, this job, I need 10, but this job is giving me 1, but meanwhile I'm at 0. 0 is always, 1 is always better than 0. Yes. So you take the 1, but under very difficult circumstances. But again, if you take that job, the thing that you need to do is stick around there and work as hard as you can. Don't work as you earn, because that's one of the mistakes that people who are in jobs make. Even those that are well-to-do, well-paid, they are in senior positions, they work as they earn. And I've heard this a lot in government circles, work as you earn. It's a very dangerous concept. You work as much as you, if anything, I have a concept is that there are 3 types of employees. Okay, one type of employee is that one who works less than they are paid. The person is paid at this level, but their level of effort, the output is lower than what they are paid. So those are thieves. They are stealing from the employer. Then there are those that I call employees with a legal mindset, legal mentality. They work as they are paid. So others work less than, they work less than they are paid. Others work as much as they are paid. And I call them, that's having a legal mentality. I remember one place where I worked, we had a finance department on the other end. And I was towards the end, the exit. When you see one of them pass, you know it's exactly 17 hours and it's knocking off time. You didn't need to, you didn't have to look at the watch.
Yeah.
If you check the watch, it's 17 hours.
Yeah.
That is working as you are paid. Legal mentality. Then there are those who work more than they are paid. And if you work more than you are paid, you are actually an investor. Your employer will be owing you. And what will happen eventually is that if you work less than you are paid, you'll be the first one to go when they are retrenching. If you work as you are paid, you can be next. But those that work more than they are paid, they are an asset. And if your employer does not increase your salary, neither does he promote you, what is going to happen is that he is going to lose you, because you are going to create value, and another person, another employer will actually attract you. I always say, if no one has ever tempted you with an offer and a competitor has never offered you a job, you have not yet started creating value. Because you see, some people are looking for jobs, but there are people for whom jobs are looking. You know, you can be looking for a job, but for some people, jobs are looking for them. Who are those people that jobs are looking for? It's people that have created wealth, that have created value. If you are of value, your employer would not want to lose you. And other employers will hear of you and they would want to offer you a better package. But this mentality of the people that are in employment, they don't have it. And you know the problem why they don't have it? The problem is because they just go for work to earn a living. My principle is that whenever you have a job, no matter how small it is, you should be able to use the job as a means to an end, as a means to create wealth. Do you know that there are servants and maids who have more wealth than their employers? They get very little, but they invest it. What they get may be insignificant, but what is significant is that this man, maybe this is a husband, is getting maybe 1,000 kwacha, and when he gets 1,000 kwacha, he gives to the wife, they invest it. They go to a place, they look for a plot, they build a house, and over the years they find they have a house, and a person who with a well-paying job is even renting. You know, and when we talk about the measure of wealth, we can go in detail. You know, and I've always said, and I've written in my book to say, it is madness from wealth creation perspective. It is mental illness. It can be considered as a mental health problem for you to have a Mercedes Benz and you park it at a rented house. Your priorities are not right. But from social perspective, I mean, you are the man, you are the woman. But from a wealth creation perspective, that's not that doesn't make sense. And that's why I mentioned last week that people who create wealth think different from those who don't. If anything, their thinking is the opposite of the people who don't create wealth. So that's why it's very important for young people, when you're in a job, put in as much as you can. You are not working just for the employer. You are developing yourself. You are increasing your skills. What I used to do when I was on the market for employment, of which now I'm not, I am scared of employment. It threatens me. A few months ago, some people contacted me. They wanted to employ me, but it was consultants, of course. You know, and consultants can pay you well if you find it. So I asked a question. I said, so where am I going to be working from? They said, no, we have a desk for you. And we have a desk, we have an office and a desk for you. And I really got scared. Because I said, but why should I come to, as a consultant, why should I come to your place? I mean, I don't want, I want to work how I want to. If I have to work the whole night, I'll work for the whole night. But I don't want to be tied, like come at 6 or 8, 7, you knock off. No, I don't want to do that. But the issue is that what I would do is that whenever I go to a place, I ask myself, what do I want to learn or get from this place? Then I have my goals, and I say, I want to get, this, maybe I want to get experience, I want to get education, and when I do that, I would know that, okay, I think now I'm done. This is what I followed. So that it's very important for young people to understand that when you're in a workplace is not just a question of a salary. This salary mentality, this drug mentality is not, we should be able to change it. You should be able to look beyond the salary. You should focus on creating value. And as a young person, when you begin to work, you need to improve on your skills. You have to get as educated as you can. Okay, if you are going to take the route of employment, get as educated as you can, get the experience. In fact, go start your work to a place at a place where they will give you more experience rather than a place where you not get experience. Because afterwards, it's experience that matters. You all can be equally qualified in terms of academic qualifications. But when they are trying to employ somebody, what is important is for you to have the experience. And sometimes people ask a question, can I go and do a master's shortly after completing first degree? I say, no, don't do that. You will get a first degree, get a job. When you get a job, gain the experience. Maybe work 2 years, gain the experience, and then you can go and do your master's. And if you do a master's straight from school, a first degree is it's a life skill. First degree does not determine your career. It's a life skill. When you get a first degree, what you have done is that you have just learned how to learn. You have not even yet learned. You have learned how to learn. It's at master's that you begin to learn. At PhD, you start creating knowledge. So I tell them, no, what you do, go and gain the experience, then go and get a master's. And when you get the experience, you can also determine what sort of area you want to specialize in. Because when you start getting to a master's degree, you start specializing now. But if you go straight, unless you are going to be a lecturer, because lecturers don't need experience, at least not in Africa, but in other places, you have to know what you are teaching. Otherwise, you'll be teaching things that are not practical, So that is, I think, my encouragement for young people who are in a job. Even if the job is not paying you well, be patient, stick around, but start planning and plotting. One time I was almost, you could have said fired. It wasn't fired. They just didn't renew my contract. But for me, I took it like I was fired. And from that time, I vowed and said, no employer will ever fire me. Me, I'll be firing employers.
I love that. And so, in case you've just tuned in, this is the next generation of millionaires right here on Radio Christian Voice. And I have Dr. Musonda with me in the studio. 0960200 You can send a WhatsApp message or a text message. And you can also simply follow us on our social handles. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Do make sure that you follow Radio Christian Voice. Today, we're looking at empowering the young people. And Doc, you've shared a number of things, but I know we are running out of time. But as we are getting to the conclusion of the program today, I would want you to give some strategies or advice, to help somebody listening right now on how they can improve their income opportunities.
Yeah. And again, you need to be more specific whether it's generically or you are looking at somebody who is in a job or somebody who is not a job, because we need to address those two areas. Which one do you want me to? Because I have to give different.
Okay, so I think we've touched a little bit on those that have got a job. So now let's talk about those that don't have a job.
if you don't have a job, there is no job or there is no work, there is no economic activity too low for you. I almost said throw away your certificate. No, but don't throw. Put aside your certificate. Don't put the education in front of you. No one has ever taken a piece of a degree and cut a corner and ate it. You know, we need money to buy what we need to be able to survive. Okay? So what you need to do is that look for anything that you can do. Okay? If you have to clean people's shoes, go and clean shoes. If you have to clean cars, clean cars. If you have to sweep, put aside this pride to say I'm educated. That won't feed you. So it's very important for young people, regardless of what you are and what you are doing. And there are so many examples. I dealt with a person, I think he was attending workshops, either workshops or one of the radio programs or TV programs we've done in the past. And this person said, look, I think he was attending a workshop. He said, look, what I used to do, I think then he was at Zekas, but he had no sponsorship. So he would wake up in the morning, go to Soweto Market and buy potatoes and wash them. I can't remember what he used to do with them, because it's been a while. And there are many people that have actually educated themselves. You know, on one hand, the person is working, is doing something, you know. So it's very important for young people not to be preoccupied with the education that you have, but you need to focus on what is it that you can do. And, you know, the challenge that we have today with young people also is this issue of being worried about what the other people are thinking of you. What are my friends going to think about? That doesn't matter. In fact, when they find you are very poor or somebody has stolen or something has done, your name will even be more discredited. So it's important to do anything. If you have to be a houseboy or a house girl, go and do it. But don't remain there. Don't remain with a mentality of house girls and houseboys. You know, my late sister-in-law started, as a maid. You know, she came to Lusaka, started as a maid. I think she had grade 12 certificate. You know, then she joined a group where she was a band where she was singing. Then eventually, because it's connected, she got employed. You know, and she rose in rank, very, very high by the time she died. You know, she started as a maid, but she did not have a maid mentality. So do anything, sell anything that you can lay your hands on. Don't even say I don't have capital. You know, capital is not an issue. You know, I mean, if you have a big business, yes, but we are saying you can't just sit and say because I don't have capital and you are waiting and praying for somebody to give you capital. I can give you one example. I am part of an alliance for the unity of Africa, and on that platform, a young man calls me from Tanzania and says, Dr. Musonda, I'm asking for $2,000 to start a business. This is a young man I don't know. He's in a different country. He doesn't know me. He has no relationship with me. And he's asking for $2,000. He doesn't even know whether I have $2,000 or not. So I just gave him advice. I said, no, look, young man, this is not how you go about. You know, if you need to look for knowledge, if you asked for my book, which I've written, it would even have been better. If anything, I would not even want to give it to you. I would want to sell it to you to show that you are serious. Because if you are desperate, you need to want to do something at any cost. You can actually look for money and buy a book. It shows that you are serious. But if you want people to give you free things, it's a very dangerous mentality.
All right. And we're getting to the end of the program. I know time is moving very, very fast. And this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much, Doc, for sharing this information.
I hope so. I hope it has been.
Yeah. I know there's more that you'd want to share.
Yeah.
And there are more programs that are coming. And so we'll be back next week at the same time. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you. Thank you, Kunda.
All right, so we had Dr. Kennedy Musonda in the studio, but we'll be back next week on the next generation of millionaires right here on Radio Christian Voice. And thank you so much for always choosing Radio Christian Voice. And remember, Dr. Kennedy Musonda is the pastor of Ox of Righteousness Tabernacle as well. And so, yeah, do make sure that you tune in next week at the same time. Do enjoy the rest of our programming. My name is Kunda, and we have to go now. Bye bye.